On May 28, 1995, a grand funeral was held in Taipei, drawing massive crowds outside the first funeral parlor. Originally planned to last 3 days, the funeral stretched to an astonishing 3 weeks due to the overwhelming number of mourners. Over 200,000 people came to bid farewell, including not just her family and friends, but also prominent figures from the Kuomintang, as well as Chen Shui-bian from the Democratic Progressive Party. The coffin, a custom-made crystal copper design from the US, had a transparent lid and a velvet-lined interior for comfort. It was said to be so well sealed that it could preserve the body for decades. What shocked many was that active Kuomintang soldiers served as pallbearers. The scale of the funeral was comparable to a state funeral, yet the person inside was not a high-ranking official or political figure. She was Teresa Teng, a singer whose fame and influence spanned generations. It's often said, wherever there are Chinese people, you'll hear Teresa Teng's music. This was indeed the case. Her voice resonated across mainland China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Southeast Asia, and beyond. In the 1970s and 1980s, she started a musical revolution with her sweet, fresh image and her tender, captivating voice. Even in mainland China, where her songs were once deemed decadent and banned, countless fans secretly listened to and adored her music. However, on May 8, 1995, Teresa Teng suddenly passed away in Chiang Mai, Thailand. She was only 42. Her passing left behind a trail of unanswered questions. Speculation surrounded the cause of her death, and rumors of espionage and a staged death began to emerge. Years later, a Thai woman named Langa Lamu came forward, claiming to be Teresa Teng's reincarnation. Her voice and appearance bore a striking resemblance to the late singer. What is the truth behind these mysteries? Today, we'll explore the story of Teresa Teng, the diva of a generation. On May 5, 1995, Teresa Teng made a call to her mother from Chiang Mai, Thailand. Knowing that her mother worried about her long-term asthma, Teresa reassured her that, although she occasionally experienced shortness of breath in Thailand, her health was fine, and there was no need for concern. However, just 3 days later, on the afternoon of May 8th, around 4 p.m., Teresa suffered a sudden asthma attack. Her boyfriend, French photographer Paul, was out buying groceries at the time, leaving her alone in the hotel room. Struggling, she managed to reach for her medicine, only to find the bottle empty. Panicked, she opened the door to call for help but collapsed in the corridor, about 10 meters from her room. Fortunately, a young woman happened to pass by and heard Teresa faintly calling out, "Mother, mother!" The woman quickly alerted the hotel staff, and together they carried the visibly pale Teresa to an ambulance. Tragically, it was rush hour and the ambulance was stuck in traffic for 20 minutes. On the way to the hospital, Teresa made weak cries before gradually falling silent. Paramedics performed CPR for 45 minutes but were unable to save her. At 5:30 p.m. local time, Teresa Teng was pronounced dead. She was only 42 years old. The shocking news rippled across Asia, leaving fans in disbelief. According to the police, Teresa's death was attributed to a heart attack triggered by bronchial asthma caused by a prolonged cold. However, many fans refused to accept this explanation, believing there were suspicious circumstances surrounding her passing. Media reports added fuel to the speculation. Allegedly, Teresa's body bore red marks from the left side of her neck to her forehead, suspected to be signs of strangulation or slaps. This raised questions about whether her asthma attack occurred naturally or if she had been involved in a confrontation beforehand. The prime suspect in this theory was her boyfriend at the time, Stephen Paul. Paul, who grew up in Normandy, northern France, was 14 years younger than Teresa. He was a French photographer with a background in music and composition. The two met in 1990 during a photo shoot, where Paul worked as Teresa's photographer. She insisted on reviewing all photos before publication, giving Paul the opportunity to get close to her. During these review sessions, Teresa often invited Paul to dinner. At the time, she was learning French and adapting to life in Paris, and Paul offered to show her around. Gradually, their relationship blossomed. After meeting Paul, Teresa seemed to settle into a quieter life. She gradually reduced her commercial performances and adopted a more reclusive lifestyle in France. For years, the public believed their relationship was loving and harmonious. However, in August 2002, journalist Ko Wei-yong made revelations that challenged this perception. While stationed in Bangkok for United Daily News and its subsidiary World Journal, Ko investigated Teresa Teng's death in Chiang Mai. From his investigations, he concluded that Paul was not truly in love with Teresa and might have even been linked to her untimely death. So, what exactly did he uncover that led him to this belief? As mentioned earlier, Teresa Teng suffered an asthma attack while her boyfriend, Paul, was out buying groceries. According to the hotel manager, when Paul returned, he informed him that Teresa had been rushed to the hospital. Surprisingly, instead of showing concern, Paul went straight back to his room and fell asleep. The hotel manager, shocked by Paul's indifference, criticized him for his irresponsibility and carelessness. When Ko interviewed Paul, he was appalled by his demeanor. Paul showed no signs of grief. Instead, he appeared quite relaxed, casually shaking his legs. Ko was so furious at Paul's attitude that he stopped filming and even felt an impulse to hit him with his camera. Based on his investigation, Ko speculated that Teresa might have had a heated argument with Paul before her asthma attack. The emotional distress could have triggered the episode, and the red mark on Teresa's left cheek might have been a slap mark left by Paul. Aside from the argument theory, there is another possible explanation. In her 40s at the time, Teresa had been on strict diets for years to maintain her slim figure, often eating only fruits or drinking juice. These diets could have led to malnutrition and weakened her health, making her more susceptible to illnesses like asthma. The ongoing speculation about her death stems from the lack of concrete evidence. No autopsy was conducted to confirm the exact cause of her passing. Records from Chiang Mai Ram Hospital reveal that Paul had written a request to keep the body intact. As a result, the Thai doctors could only rely on Teresa's medical history, concluding that she likely died from an asthma attack. However, Teresa's sudden and mysterious death was not the end of her legendary story. Less than a month after her passing, another explosive rumor began circulating that Teresa Teng was a spy for the Kuomintang, KMT. In mid-June 1995, 1 month after Teresa Teng's passing, Taiwan's popular magazine Scoop Weekly published a shocking story. The article suggested that Teresa Teng was a Kuomintang spy. According to the report, the magazine's journalists interviewed Mr. Gu Zhengwen, a retired Kuomintang major general and former senior officer. In the article, Gu claimed that Teresa Teng worked as a secret intelligence operative for the 3rd Department of the Kuomintang Security Bureau. Her sole point of contact was Director Wu of the 3rd Department, with additional support provided by the Kuomintang Military Intelligence Statistics Bureau. Gu detailed how Teresa became involved with intelligence work. In the summer of 1968, she received an invitation to perform at a charity concert at Singapore's National Theatre in 1969. At the time, 15-year-old Teresa needed approval from Taiwan's authorities to leave the country. Since she was underage, her mother, Zhao Sugui, also applied for an exit permit to accompany her. During that period, Taiwan was under martial law, and strict scrutiny was imposed on anyone entering or leaving the country by the Taiwan Security Bureau. A key part of this evaluation was determining whether the applicant could serve Taiwan's intelligence efforts in any capacity. Teresa's background raised immediate interest. Her father, Deng Shu, was originally from Daming County in Hebei Province and had served as an officer in the National Revolutionary Army. He had relocated to Taiwan with the Republic of China government after the Second Kuomintang Communist Civil War. Her mother, Zhao Sugui, was from Dongping County in Shandong Province, and some of her relatives still lived in mainland China. Although Teresa was just 15 at the time, her growing fame and unique family background naturally attracted the attention of the authorities. Director Wu of the 3rd Department personally brought Teresa's file, along with a thick stack of assessment documents, to the Military Intelligence Bureau under the National Defense Ministry, seeking assistance in the review process. Gu Zhengwen was directly responsible for these assessments and handled Teresa's case. According to Gu's recollection, after Chiang Kai-shek reorganized the Kuomintang's intelligence system in 1949, numerous civilians, intellectuals, and figures in the literary and arts were recruited into the organization for various reasons. Many of these individuals, including Teresa, had to accept this arrangement in order to obtain entry and exit permits. However, Teresa Teng's family members firmly denied these allegations. In response to the article in Scoop Weekly Taiwan, Her brother Deng Changfu issued a public statement on behalf of the Deng family, saying, "This article was written without conducting any interviews with our family members, and it is an insult to Teresa." In 2006, Japanese writer Yoshifu Arita published a book titled, "My Home is Beyond the Mountains: The Truth About Teresa Teng," 10 years later. The book includes a recorded interview with Gu Zhengwen, in which he reportedly stated, "I have never met Teresa Teng, nor have I seen any documents proving she was a spy. If the magazine wrote such claims, they must have made it up." Gu Zhengwen lived a quiet life in his later years, rarely appearing in public. There are no known audio or video recordings of his statements on this matter. As such, the authenticity of these written reports remains uncertain. Perhaps only the authors themselves know the truth. Another reason many believe Teresa Teng was a special agent lies in the political undertones of her grand funeral. On May 28, 1995, when Teresa Teng was buried, her body was first draped with the Kuomintang flag. After her crystal coffin was closed, it was then covered with the Republic of China flag. On that day, James Soong Chu-yu served as the chairman of the funeral committee. Taiwan's President Lee Teng-hui personally awarded Teresa Teng a commemorative plaque inscribed with the words, "Yi Yuan Yang Fen," spreading fragrance in the arts, and posthumously bestowed upon her the Hua Xia Grade 1 medal, the highest honor of the Kuomintang. Many prominent politicians attended, including Lian Chan, Wu Po-seung, Hao Bo-chun, Wang Jinping, and even Democratic Progressive Party leader Chen Shui-bian. Her coffin bearers were active Taiwanese soldiers, adding a distinctly military presence to the ceremony. It was said that this grand funeral cost a total of 1 million new Taiwan dollars, a considerable sum in the 1990s. Interestingly, the Deng family did not cover this expense. Instead, it was financed by China Television CTV, a broadcaster with known military affiliations. To many, these details seem to suggest a deeper connection between Teresa Teng and the Kuomintang. Teresa's father, Deng Shu, graduated from the 14th class of the prestigious Whampoa Military Academy. He served as a lieutenant in the 32nd Division of the Kuomintang's Central Army and was promoted to captain in 1953. After showing a natural gift for singing as a child, Teresa often traveled with the Ju San Kong Band to perform for troops, mainly because of her father's military ties. In addition to her upbringing, Teresa Teng's political stance was clear. She was a staunch supporter of Sun Yat-sen's 3 Principles of the People, which made it impossible for her to perform in mainland China during her lifetime. Despite longing to visit her ancestral home in Hebei, her unwavering political beliefs prevented her from ever setting foot in the mainland. Ultimately, no concrete evidence has ever surfaced proving that Teresa Teng provided intelligence to the Kuomintang. Her alleged identity as a special agent remains nothing more than speculation. What is beyond dispute, however, is Teresa Teng's unparalleled influence as one of the greatest singers of her time. Her sweet, melodious voice transcended political boundaries, enchanting audiences on both sides of the Taiwan Strait. Through her music, she warmed the hearts of countless people and left a legacy that continues to resonate with people to this day. Teresa Teng, whose original Chinese name was Deng Liyun, was born on January 29, 1953, in Yunlin County, Taiwan. She was the 4th of 5 siblings, with 3 older brothers and 1 younger brother. Teresa's mother had a deep love for traditional Chinese opera, particularly Huangmei opera and Pingxi opera, and often listened to the radio while doing housework. This environment nurtured Teresa's early exposure to music, and she quickly displayed her unique gift. She could sing songs from start to end after hearing them just twice. Recognizing her talent, her mother encouraged her to sing for the family every evening, a routine young Teresa thoroughly enjoyed. During her elementary school years, Teresa began performing at school events. In her free time, she learned music from a Huqin musician in the Air Force Jusan Kong Band, which was stationed near her school. In 1964, at the age of 11, Teresa participated in the Huangmei Opera Singing Competition held by Changhua Broadcasting Station. Her rendition of Visiting Yingtai won her first prize. The following year, she claimed another victory in the singing competition organized by Golden Horse Records with the song Picking Red Water Chestnuts. These early successes propelled her to fame at a young age. While performing at various events, Teresa's talent caught the attention of the owner of the Guojibin Karaoke Hall, who invited her to perform there regularly. In 1968, she made the bold decision to drop out of Jinling Girls High School to focus entirely on her career. She soon began performing at major karaoke halls across Taipei. With her pure, charming image and sweet voice, Teresa soon received many invitations to perform at karaoke halls and restaurants. At the height of her early career, her mother had to accompany her to 6 different venues in a single day. At the time, the Deng family's monthly expenses were 2,000 new Taiwan dollars, yet Teresa was already earning 6,000 new Taiwan dollars a month, a considerable sum for that era. In 1969, Teresa ventured into acting, appearing in the TV series Jing Jing. The following year, she took the lead role in the film Thank You Manager, establishing herself as a versatile entertainer in music, film, and television. By 1971, at just 18 years old, Teresa used her earnings to purchase a villa in Beitou, Taipei, where she settled her entire family, a gesture of gratitude and support. Meanwhile, she began touring internationally, frequently performing in Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand. It was during this period that she met her first love, Malaysian paper tycoon Lin Zhenfa. At the time, Teresa Teng was invited to perform for the grand opening of the Mayflower Hotel in Malaysia. Strangely, she noticed that for 3 consecutive days, the first 3 rows of the audience were occupied by the same group of people. Later, she discovered that Lin Zhenfa, the chairman of Kuala Lumpur's Great East Asia Paper Co., was captivated by her. To show his admiration, he reserved the first 3 rows every day for 45 days, inviting friends and family to watch her perform throughout her engagement at the hotel. Lin Zhenfa, who was 5 years older than Teresa, was an amateur jockey. He frequently invited her to go horseback riding and play ball, and they often dined together on local favorites like Fujin noodles, Ipoh rice noodles, and chicken feet. Their relationship progressed, and marriage seemed to be on the horizon. However, around this time, Teresa had to leave for Japan to advance her music career. In 1973, Teresa signed with Japan's Polydor Records, officially entering the Japanese music industry. Determined to succeed on her own terms, she refused to compromise her way into Japan's music industry. Instead, she was set on establishing herself through raw talent and relentless work ethic. She chose not to adopt a Japanese stage name, using only her English name, and often performed in a cheongsam. She only allowed herself 1 day off per week, dedicating the other 6 days entirely to work, and spent her free moments practicing Japanese. Her persistence paid off. In July 1974, her album Airport became an instant hit in Japan, selling over 700,000 copies. She went on to win one of the highest honors in Japanese music, the championship title at the prestigious Red and White Song Battle. The following year, she received the Best New Artist awards at both Japan's 18th Album Awards and the Shinjuku Music Festival. However, just as her career soared to new heights, tragedy struck. One evening in 1978, Teresa received an urgent telegram informing her that Lin Zhenfa had suffered a heart attack and was in critical condition. In a panic, she booked the earliest flight to Malaysia. But once on the plane, she opened a newspaper and was devastated to read that Lin Zhenfa had already passed away. The loss of her first love dealt a heavy blow to Teresa. Unfortunately, her professional life soon suffered a major setback as well. On February 18, 1979, newspapers across Japan made shocking headlines. Teresa Teng had been detained by the Tokyo Immigration Office for violating the immigration control order. The authorities requested her cooperation in a full investigation into the matter. The incident unfolded as follows. On February 13th, at 4:10 p.m., Teresa arrived at Taipei Airport from Hong Kong on China Airlines Flight CI-828. She planned to transfer to Japan for a recording session. Upon arrival, she immediately approached the China Airlines transfer counter to book a seat on the 4:45 p.m. flight to Tokyo. Unfortunately, she hadn't booked a ticket in advance, and the flight was already full. As the Japanese Polydor Records had already scheduled a recording and a concert for her, she had no time to waste. Faced with the situation, Teresa grew anxious and pleaded with the airport staff for a solution. One staff member suggested 2 options: either stay overnight in Taipei and take the next day's flight to Japan, or return to Hong Kong immediately and fly directly to Japan from there. However, the first option had a significant issue. At the time, Taiwan's immigration policies were extremely strict, and as Teresa Teng was traveling on a Taiwanese passport, staying overnight in Taipei and flying out the next day would constitute re-entering and exiting Taiwan. According to regulations, she would have been required to remain in Taiwan for at least 2 weeks before being allowed to leave again. In her desperation, Teresa pulled out an Indonesian passport and asked the customs officials, "Can I transit with a foreign passport?" The staff informed her that, since her Indonesian passport did not have a Taiwan visa, she could not enter the country. Left with no other options, she returned to Hong Kong. On February 14th, the following day, she flew from Hong Kong to Japan. At the airport, as Teresa Teng took out her Indonesian passport, a newspaper reporter happened to witness the moment. The reporter secretly noted down the passport number and contacted official agencies to verify its authenticity. The Indonesian authorities revealed that Teresa Teng had not immigrated to Indonesia. Based on this information, the reporter concluded that Teresa's Indonesian passport was fake and reported her to the Indonesian embassy in Japan. On February 16th, officials from Tokyo's Immigration Bureau, accompanied by representatives from the Indonesian embassy, detained Teresa Teng. She was held for 3 days before the truth finally came to light. On February 22nd, Japan's Immigration Bureau released the results of their investigation. It turned out that Teresa's Indonesian passport was not fake. It had indeed been issued by the Indonesian government, and the signature of the Indonesian Ministry of Foreign Affairs official on the passport was authentic. However, the process by which the passport was obtained was illegal. To acquire Indonesian citizenship, foreigners were required to reside in Indonesia for an extended period, a condition Teresa could not meet due to her constant travel. In reality, the passport had been privately issued to her by a high-ranking Indonesian official who admired her. Once this came to light, the passport was confiscated by the Indonesian embassy in Japan. At the time, it wasn't unusual for celebrities to carry multiple passports so that they could perform in different countries. However, Teresa Teng's immense popularity caused this incident to attract a lot of attention. Japan decided to deport her and banned her from re-entering the country for a year. This sudden turn of events brought her years of hard work in the Japanese music industry to an abrupt halt. The situation worsened as the media in Taiwan seized on the incident. Sensationalist reports accusing Teresa Teng of betraying her country and changing her nationality flooded the headlines, overwhelming the public. Teresa and her family felt cornered. Japan was no longer an option, and returning to Taiwan risked being blacklisted or even prosecuted.
但我们那时候觉得，就是感觉到她的歌唱事业已经终止了。
Feeling she had no alternative, Teresa Teng decided to pause her career and flew to Los Angeles to become a student again. At UCLA, she took courses in English, Japanese, biology, and mathematics. During her time in Los Angeles, she met international superstar Jackie Chan, and the two went out for a short time. However, they soon broke up due to incompatible personalities. Years later, Jackie Chan reflected on their relationship, saying that Teresa Teng was so elegant and refined that she and his friends struggled to connect.
她一定是一个好女孩，但是 wrong timing， 时间不对。反正我跟邓丽君在一起的所有兄弟都走开的，也不倒茶，也不管她。
As their relationship came to an end, so did Teresa's career slump. Over time, the public seemed to move past the fake passport incident. By July 1980, Teresa Teng was back on stage, touring the US with performances in New York and other major cities, once again captivating audiences. After her comeback, Teresa Teng soon found love again, this time with Kwok Kun Chen, who was a year older than her. Kwok, originally from Fuzhou, Fujian, was a Malaysian national and the eldest son of Robert Kwok, the Asian sugar king. At the time, he was also the chairman of Shangri-La Hotels. The couple had even set a wedding date, but their relationship fell apart when the Kwok family disapproved of Teresa's career in entertainment, insisting she leave the stage for good if she wanted to marry into the family. Unwilling to give up her passion for singing, Teresa chose to walk away instead. Following the breakup, Teresa Teng shifted her focus back to her music career and remained active in the industry for several more years. In 1985, at the peak of her career, she held a grand concert in Japan titled The Only Time. In the end, the concert truly became her one and only large-scale performance in Japan. After that, she moved her recording sessions to the UK and France, gradually stepping away from the Japanese music scene. By 1990, after officially settling in Paris, Teresa largely withdrew from the public eye, only making occasional appearances at charity events, TV anniversaries, and benefit concerts. It was during this period that she met her final love, Paul, the same man mentioned at the beginning. Unlike her previous partners, Paul was neither from a wealthy background, nor was he a well-known photographer. Yet perhaps it was precisely his ordinary, uncomplicated nature that drew Teresa to him, as she longed for a simpler, quieter life. Paul remained by her side during the last 5 years of her life. When news of Teresa Teng's passing broke, many fans refused to believe it, struggling to accept the loss of their beloved idol. Even in death, she remained deeply cherished and missed. In the 1980s, there was a popular saying in mainland China, "Listen to Old Deng during the day and Little Deng at night." Old Deng referred to Deng Xiaoping, while Little Deng referred to Teresa Teng. At that time, mainland radio broadcasts were often rigid, formal, and monotonous. Even weather forecasts were delivered with dramatic intensity. So when Teresa Teng's soft, expressive, and warm voice first reached people's ears, it was a revelation. They suddenly realized that music could sound like this. Her lyrics were simple, relatable, and full of emotion, like a ray of light breaking through the gray monotony of daily life. However, at the time, such songs were officially labeled as banned music. It wasn't until 1995, when mainland state media reported Teresa Teng's passing, that her music was finally allowed to be played openly. Teresa's third brother, Deng Changfu, once revealed in an interview that she had 3 major regrets in life: not completing her education, never getting married, and never having the chance to hold a concert in mainland China. On July 17, 2015, a contestant on the Chinese talent show The Voice of China shocked both the judges and the audience. She was a 16-year-old girl from Thailand named Langa Lamu. The moment she appeared, everyone was stunned. Her voice, looks, demeanor, and even her aura bore an uncanny resemblance to Teresa Teng, who had passed away 20 years earlier. After the episode aired, comments flooded the internet, with reactions ranging from amazement to eerie disbelief. She looks and sounds too much like her, and this is almost unsettling. Overnight, rumors spread like wildfire. Is Teresa Teng reborn? Langa Lamu was born in 1999, 4 years after Teresa Teng's death, in a small village in Kamphaeng Phet, Thailand. Teresa loved Thailand, especially Chiang Mai. In fact, in the year of her passing, she had visited Chiang Mai 3 times before ultimately taking her last breath there. Beijing TV's documentary World even produced a film about Langa Lamu titled "Your Smile is So Familiar," exploring the strange and inexplicable connections between the two. For instance, when Langa Lamu was just 7 years old, she didn't speak a word of Chinese, yet after listening to Teresa Teng's songs only a couple of times, she could sing them perfectly. The first song she learned was Sweet Honey, and she even told her parents, "This is my song."
没有学过汉语，没有学过英语，然后我就想起来，我就说这个是我的歌。
As she grew older, Langa Lamu moved to China to study Chinese, saying that her dream was to carry on Teresa Teng's musical legacy. But the most astonishing moment came when she visited the Imperial Meiping Hotel in Chiang Mai, the very place where Teresa Teng passed away. Upon entering the room where Teresa had stayed, Langa Lamu pointed to a sofa and said, "This is where I like to sit and read."
这就是我喜欢坐的地方吧。
Whether Langa Lamu is truly Teresa Teng reincarnated is a matter of personal belief. But one thing is certain. Even today, people around the world still listen to Teresa Teng's songs. The Moon Represents My Heart, Sweet Honey, Tuberose, and many more. Though she may no longer be here, it feels as if she never truly left. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share it with your friends, and leave a comment below. See you in the next one.